Greetings, people of the internet. It is I, that Canadian fangirl. Merry Christmas! This episode is going up on Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you all. It's our fourth week of the 2024 countdown, and to end this countdown, we talked about anime, we talked about shows, we talked about games. Now we're going to talk about the big one. We're going to talk about the movies. These are my top 10 movies of 2024. So, okay, first off, a few honorable mentions, because I saw a lot of movies this year, and though more movies that deserve to get shouted out than actually made this list. First off, I want to give an honorable shout out to Look Back, which was a beautiful anime movie. I think I said this on my tier list. Look Back is made S tier rank because it was that good. But this was a beautifully animated film with a gorgeous story that I absolutely fell in love with. I didn't put it on this list, but this would probably be number 11 of the film. It's amazing. Shout out to Out of My Mind on Disney Plus. I was debating whether I wanted to include streaming movies, but then I thought about it, streaming movies count. They came out this year. And Out of My Mind was really thought-provoking and a really good story that I think needed to be told for what that film was about. And I wouldn't say that film was perfect. I don't think it deserves to be on this list, but I wanted to shout it out. Honorable mention to The Beekeeper, which was the fun little action film that came out early this year that was fun enough. Godzilla Kong: A New Empire. It was a great Godzilla movie. I freaking love seeing this movie in the theater. I thought this movie was great. I mean, I guess it's not -1 from last year, but this was a great Godzilla movie. And honestly, I think I had some great, kaiju level action. So there's that. Dune 2, which I think a lot of people probably gonna put in their list. I just thought Dune 2 was okay. But I think I shout it out anyway, just because this is the film I think everyone was anticipating, and for when it came out early in the year, it did do really well, so I'll give it that. If is another honorable mention. Not enough to make it the top 10, but I already talked about this film, so I'm not going to highlight too much, but F was great. I've already talked about Haikyuu, the dumpster battle. Honorable mention for being just a really fun time, and I love seeing Haikyuu on the big screen. We Live in Time is another one. This is not a top 10 film, I'll be perfectly honest. This film almost works, but holds it back for me is mainly the editing choices. I don't get why they chose to tell the story in a non-chronological fashion. It doesn't add anything to it, but it acted well and it looked really nice, so I wanted to shout it out. Civil War is another film had a really interesting message, and I did enjoy. Not enough to put on this list, but Civil War was a good film. The Fall Guy, I already talked about The Fall Guy. Fun action, it was great. Argyle, I really liked Argyle. I thought Argyle was some really fun action with a really interesting premise, and I think it worked. It's not enough to be a top 10 film, but it was fun for what it was. Shout out to Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, which is a good legacy sequel. I like what they did with the cast. I like, how they brought back all but much of Ghostbusters lore, and they made it, kind of its own thing, and they made it interesting enough to follow. I had fun with it. Challenger is another one. was interesting for what it was. I kind of liked how they built up this kind of love triangle, this drama, which was interesting enough. So I get a shout out. And my final honorable mention goes to Moana 2. I was thinking, like, do I put that on my top 10 list? Then I looked at some of the other films that I did put on this list. It's like, I didn't like Moana 2 enough that any of these films actually did make the top 10, so it. But I did like it, so I wanted to talk about it. I think it's fine. I think it's Disney Plus streaming history 100% shows. You can see that in the animation because it looks like it was gonna be. It looks like animation that was made for streaming. They got pushed to field at the last minute. I'd be curious how much of Moana 2 was completed when they made the switch. Because this is like, if it was like, if it was done, again, but I don't know what's happening. But it was, but like the idea for a story is Vale. It probably would have been better as a series. I think this is the one time where I don't think they should have made this no movie, but Disney's going to Disney. I think Moana 2 was fine. It exists. But those are the honorable mentions. Thanks for listening. Anyway, let's move on to the actual top 10. Number 10. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It just makes the top 10 for being a really good film. The only reason it's not higher is because it just came out. Like, that's the only reason the reason I kept this list till now was because I wanted to see what we're gonna have with Sonic 3. Because, like, well, if Sonic 3 is really good, I might want to put it in my top 10 of the year. So it's like, okay, I'll hold it back by you. I'll see Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and then I'll do this list. It deserves to be on the top 10. I can't justify putting it higher. We'll see. Although, it's gonna do well on the Christmas break, let's be perfectly honest. It's an amazingly put together family film. Like, this is the film that, if you have kids, you have to take your kids to. Sorry, Disney. Sonic is definitely gonna get. It's way more geared towards family, kids and family than I think anything that they're doing. But for another reason, one, video game movie done right, and Sonic the Hedgehog is a successful video game trilogy that succeeded. Like, this was the third film in this trilogy, which proves that you can do video game movies well enough to get a trilogy, and it is possible. So, for that alone, but let's be honest, humor is top notch. It looks amazing. The action's fun. There's some great callbacks to Sonic lore. I know everyone was talking about Live and Learn. I could use more Live and Learn, but what can I do? Sonic is great. Sonic is great. Keanu with Shadow is amazing. Jim Carrey is amazing as both Robotnik and Eggman and Jailed Robotnik. I'm gonna assume he's not coming back. I know that guy. I know he's retired, so I doubt he's coming back if they do a Sonic 4, which they're gonna do because this movie's making money. I saw it in a theater. It's like 80% full. It's like the crowds were there. It's gonna do way better than Mufasa. But no, it was a great film. I absolutely loved it. This is probably this is the best video game movie we got this year. I think this film is amazing. That's all I gotta say. I'll probably see it again, just because I probably missed a bunch of stuff. Because the credits said Escape the City was in the movie. I didn't hear Escape from the City. Where was it? Tell me in the comments if you know well, Escape from the City was. Other than the credits song, which I probably missed. The credit scenes were great too. Everyone was talking about, how the credits were amazing. So I was like, okay, this probably some big video game reference in the credits, and there is, and it's really good. That's Sonic 3. Number 9 goes to Transformers 1. I like this film a lot. I think the film was an unfortunate time of poor marketing and just the fact that it came out at a really bad time. Like, if this film came out any other time, it probably would have done better and didn't suffer from bad marketing. But it's the first animated Transformers movie since that original one from the 80s. The animation of this film is spectacular. It's really good looking animation. I like the characterization of Orion and D13, who become Optimus and Megatron. I like their relationship. I mean, it's an origin story, so you kind of know they're going to do the friends of enemies trope with. They do well. Transformers 1 is kind of a generic story, but again, the story's a bit generic. But for what it is, I think it works because it's filled with characters that I like. And a world that's interesting. I like what they did with it. I think it was cast well, it looks nice. I feel bad that it didn't do better because I think it 100% does. But I think although people are so done with Transformers, I understand why. People who are like, it's another Transformers movie. It's like, no! If you want to see Transformers, it's a good Transformers to watch. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Moving on. Number 8. Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. Another film that just came out, like, what, 2 weeks ago? And contrary to what I think people are thinking about this film, I like it. And I understand this film is not for everyone because I kind of knew going in that this film was going to have a lot of fans online. It's Lord of the Rings, it's anime, and it's a female-led story. Lord of the Rings has not exactly been something that the internet has been really all that excited for in a while. I think everyone is kind of tired of Lord of the Rings. Again, it's not Star Wars. I can't say it's Star Wars, but Hollywood is definitely trying to keep Lord of the Rings relevant. And you can kind of tell that I think people just kind of, like, whatever on Lord of the Rings, but I like the Lord of the Rings setting. I think I said this last week when I talked about Rings of Power. Anime is always going to be a niche market that's not a lot of people are going to get into. And you're always going to have those guys who are going to hate things just because the main character is a woman. I like Lord of the Rings, I love anime, and I love the characters in this, so I really love this film. I think Hale is a great protagonist. I like what they did with her. Like, guys, it's Lord of the Rings. It's Lord of the Rings. It's not like this is a franchise that has a lot of female characters. They don't. Like, how many female characters are in Lord of the Rings? Like, 5? No. And I like Hale. I think she has an interesting story. I like the setting, the idea of talking about the Rohirrim and how they became the warrior they are going to be in the actual book Lord of the Rings. Like, that's interesting. I really like the other style. I think it's a gorgeous use of anime. I love the fact that they gave a bunch of anime directors the chance to get widespread appeal at not much, because again, anime's really niche. For a film that I knew going in was not going to win a lot of people over, and had an uphill battle for the fact that the film had a huge apparent lack of marketing. I think this film was really fun. Like, if you just want a fun Lord of the Rings adventure, this is perfectly fine. I like it for what it is. I don't expect it to really carry itself through Christmas, but I also don't expect it to stand out much when it comes to animation this year, because animation was really good this year, but whatever. But most likely, when it leaves theaters, if it goes on home media, I would definitely pick up a physical copy of it, probably on Blu-ray, because I would love to have it, just to watch it, just to watch it again. I thought it was that good, but that's War Him. Moving on. Number 7 is It Ends With Us. I already talked about this film when I did my solo movie retrospective, so not much to say. But again, I like the way this film portrayed the escalation of how abusive relationships can happen. I like the way the characters act. I think it's a interesting look into this adult mindset. It was thought-provoking and interesting. All around, this was a good film. If you want my actual thoughts on it and the thoughts, go listen to the summer movie retrospective I did back in August. But yeah, really like this film. I think it's the wise hair of the summer. This film was awesome. Well, okay, this film was good. I can't say it was fun because it was a bit of abuse. Number 6, Twisters. Again, I talked about this film in the summer movie episode. Twisters was a really fun action. It's a legacy sequel without falling back on a lot of the legacy sequel tropes. Stuff like Ghostbusters did. Well, it's like, let's hit you over the head with the fact that it's this movie again. It's like, Twister doesn't do that. I like the set pieces. I like a lot of the action of tornado chasing. Characters were likable enough. I like the drama it portrays. I like how real it makes a lot of these tornado chases. All around, it's a really good film. So that's Twisters. Number 5 is Deadpool and Wolverine. Right in the middle of this list, this is probably where it belongs. Again, talked about Deadpool before in the summer movie, so I won't go too much into it. But it's a good MCU film. I like how they say farewell to the Fox universe. Deadpool and Wolverine as characters are great. The two performances from Ryan and Hugh were great. The cameos are hilarious. There's some great cameos in this. Henry Cavill especially is really funny. Chris Evans, I think everyone laughed at. I think everyone was like, "Oh, speaking of Chris Evans," it's like, guys, he played the Human Torch. They're most likely gonna make a Fantastic Four of it, and they do, and it's funny. I think I said this on social media because I know they're talking about Chris Evans coming back for Avengers Doomsday. It's like, guys, he just came back for Deadpool. It's like, it's not some gratitude from me. It's not some gratitude from I don't think it's a big deal, but whatever. But yeah, it's a great film. It comes in right in the middle of this list with, again, what it deserves. I already talked about this, so I won't go too much into Deadpool. But it was good. It was fun. It's what you expect. It's Deadpool and Wolverine. Moving on. Number 4, Lisa Frankenstein. I did a full episode on Lisa Frankenstein back in March after it came out. So, if you want my full opinion, just go watch that episode. But Lisa Frankenstein was probably one of my favorite films from like this year. It's a great horror comedy. As I said, I think the two leads are immensely likable. I love the style of this film because it looks great. I talked about Cole Sprouse. I think he has an amazing acting range, considering he has to play the character mainly non-vocal. Catherine Newton is great in this film. I think supporting Catherine in this film is great. There's some good horror elements in this film. Like the deaths in this film are brutal, but also really funny. I had a really good time with Lisa Frankenstein. I'm so glad I did see this movie. So, Yeah, that's Lisa Frankenstein. I'm gonna move on. So I already talked about it. Again, go watch the actual episode I did on the full episode I did. Number 3 is The Wild Robot. Finally, something I didn't do an episode on previously. The Wild Robot was one of those animated films that is gorgeous. It is gorgeous animation. It's some of the best animation I've seen this year. Not the best, because I think Look Back Look Better. And of course, got it on. I mean, there was anime, but whatever. Okay, to the Western animation, I think Wild Robot's like some of the prettiest. But the idea behind the Wild Robot is it's a great, moving story. Just seeing Roz adapt to, for lack of a better word, motherhood, raising Bright Bill, and coming to her own, basically living among these animals on this island, and how the animals react to this robot, and to her relationship with Bright Bill and Fink. Pedro Pascal in this movie is amazing. You would never know it with him. There's some great action. I love when Bright Bill goes to migrate, and the other dogs, and Bright Bill's, acceptance among, for lack of a better, his kind. And how the animals band together to help Rod in the end. And how Fink rallied everyone to survive this really harsh winter. It's one of those films that it's such an interesting, fun experience that it's hard to put in words how good this film was. It's an emotional journey about this robot in this mentally unearthing world. It was just beautiful. That's all you can say. It was a beautiful story. And it deserved to be this high, because I think it was really good. Number 2 is Inside Out. I kind of knew Inside Out was probably the best animated film I saw this year. And it's one of those things like Inside Out 2 or The Wild Robot for like animation of the year. It's like, I give it to Inside Out 2, which I will say this, I watched it again on Disney Plus. I like it more than the first movie, by maybe a hair's breadth. Mainly because I like how they evolved the cast, and I like the new emotion and how they treat the idea of puberty and growing up, and how your sense of self develops, and how anxiety is important. That's what I love about the Inside Out movie. I love how they treat your emotions like they're important without villainizing them. Well, it's like, no, it sucks to feel these ways. It's natural, and there's nothing wrong with being anxious. There's nothing wrong with being sad. There's nothing wrong with being envious. There's nothing wrong with embarrassment. It's like, there's nothing wrong with ennui. It's like, it's natural. And again, the anxiety attack scene at the very end is probably my favorite. The ending alone is probably the reason Inside Out 2 is I prefer it to Inside Out 1. Because I love what they do with anxiety, topped with the fact that Joy and the others to get back brought in a bunch of bad memories in the back of the mind to form, and all the beliefs that spread from the quote-unquote bad memories, and how these good and bad memories collide to basically make Riley who she is. And I really like that message, that there are bad things that maybe are part of you, but there's still you. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's really a good message for kids growing up. I know I talked about Inside Out 2 in my summer movie retrospective, but I love this movie that much that it deserves to be this high. That's Inside Out 2. Number 1. Wicked Part 1. Wicked is Okay, I'm gonna say... Okay, let's preface this by saying it is so nice to have musicals come back in a big way. I've seen the Broadway show of Wicked. So my favorite memory is seeing Wicked on the Broadway. Well, mainly for my personal feelings, I won't get into that. But Wicked is a good story. And this film does so many things right by Wicked. Production design is superb. This film looks gorgeous. The musical numbers are huge. They are amazingly sung. I love, you cast good actors who can sing first and can also act, which I think are great. There's some amazing dancing. The story, it's Wicked. There's much you can say about the story of Wicked because I think everyone knows the story of Wicked. It's a prequel about the Wicked West of the West, and everyone knows the story of Wicked. But this film is just so cozy. I don't know what people were thinking when they saw Wicked was coming out. It's already doing amazing. It's going to continue to do amazing because it's still in theaters as of this recording. We'll see how well it holds up over Christmas, but I think it's going to hold up amazingly well. I think in terms of everything else that came out in November, I think Wicked has the best chance of keeping audiences entertained. I think I'll keep it every day. But I love the story of Wicked. I think this film looks great. I love the direction they took. I just love this adaptation of Wicked. I think it is such a good adaptation. Well, it's still the story that we know from the Broadway show, but I only seen the Broadway show once, and my memory of it's probably fuzzy, but sitting there in the theater, it's like, I remember this so vividly, because the story is such a fun take. I love this movie. It's nice to see Ariana Grande back in a more comedic role. I remember Ariana from her days on Victorious playing Cat, and man, she is still so funny. That's a girl who's no, Ariana's a good single. The cameos in this were really funny. I won't spoil the cameos in Wicked, like I did with Deadpool, but because Wicked's still in theaters, and I don't think everyone, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it. The two cameos in this were basically like, oh my god, that's so cool that they did that, because that was amazing. And Wicked lived or died on the relationship between Elphaba and Glinda. And again, these two actresses make it work. You 100% buy it. Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard is great. I can't wait for Wicked Part 2. Because you know that's gonna be epic. Wicked's got a great song, it's got a great look, it's got a great cast, it's got brilliant cinematography with some brilliant dancing. This movie is great. I freaking love it. So yeah, that's Wicked. And those are my top 10 movies of 2024. And I just realized making this list, I forgot 2 honorable mentions. I forgot Hitman, which I thought was a brilliant comedy I should probably talk about, because I really did like that movie. And I also thought about Longlegs, which I'm not a horror person, but watching Longlegs is like, I get why people are into horror, because this is a really good thriller. So, those will make the list, but I want to talk about, I wanted to give them some attention, so they're 2 more honorable mentions. Thanks for sticking with me for this full episode of my top 10 movies of 2024. Leave your favorite movies of the year in the comment section down below. Again, if you read the description where you'll find all my socials, make sure you follow me on my socials. The comment section is below in the description, so leave a comment. And remember, like, follow, subscribe to this podcast, help the algorithm, spread the love of That Canadian Fangirl so that Spotify recommends me to a wider audience so we can get more people listening. I said I'm gonna stop, being so weird about that stuff because I know no one listens to this, but whatever, it's a hobby. No gatekeeping, we don't gatekeep this community. If you like something, you're a fan of it, don't let other people tell you otherwise. And remember, when people ask what fangirl do you listen to, it is That Canadian Fangirl. What Canadian Fangirl? That Canadian Fangirl. Alright, later peoples!